The anomalous reading. Captain Elena Rodriguez had been through security checkpoints on hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. But the scanners at Nexus Station were different. The massive orbital station served as the diplomatic heart of the Galactic Federation, where over 40 species conducted trade, negotiations, and cultural exchanges. As humanity's newest member, Elena was here for routine diplomatic talks. Nothing more complicated than establishing trade routes. She placed her sidearm in the designated container and stepped through the cylindrical scanner. The device hummed, with a pleasant blue light as it mapped her body for weapons, contraband, or biological hazards. Standard procedure, nothing she hadn't done 1,000 times before. Then the humming stopped. The Quellian security officer, a tall reptilian being, with iridescent scales, tilted his head in confusion. His forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air for chemical traces. "Human Rodriguez, Captain Elena," he said in heavily accented standard. "Please remain stationary. Scanner requires secondary analysis." Elena sighed and raised her arms again. The secondary scanner was more invasive, designed to detect hidden cybernetics or illegal modifications. She felt the familiar tingle as energy probes mapped every inch of her body, cataloging old injuries and scars. The price of 2 decades in the Colonial Defense Force, but this time was different. The scanner's pleasant hum became a harsh whine, then an urgent beeping that filled the security chamber. The Quellian officer's scales shifted from their normal green to a deep amber, his species equivalent of alarm. "Supervisor to Checkpoint 7, he called through his communicator. "We have an anomalous reading." Within minutes, the checkpoint was crowded with security personnel from 6 species. A Menthry floated in, her gaseous form contained within an environmental suit, while a pair of Corvan beetles clicked their mandibles in rapid consultation. Elena recognized the universal language of bureaucratic panic. Senior Supervisor Kethva, an elderly Thaxian with grey-striped fur, emerged from the crowd. His 6 eyes studied the scanner's display with growing concern. "Captain Rodriguez," he said in perfect standard, "our equipment indicates energy signatures within your body that should not exist in any living being." "Define should not exist," Elena said, though she suspected she knew where this was heading. Kethva's whiskers twitched nervously. "The readings suggest you have survived direct exposure to void energy. Multiple exposures. This is ... impossible." A ripple of excitement ran through the gathered aliens. Elena caught fragments of conversation in various languages, but one phrase kept repeating in standard: "Void wraiths." The Menthry supervisor drifted closer, her voice emerging from her suit's speakers like wind through crystals. "Honored human, surely you cannot mean the Shadow Devourers, the entities that consumed the Krell Empire 3,000 years ago. We called them Void Wraiths," Elena said simply, "and yes, I fought them." The effect was immediate. Every being in the checkpoint went silent. Their various forms of shock and disbelief painted across scales, feathers, and energy fields. The Corvan beetles actually stumbled backward, their compound eyes reflecting Elena's image hundreds of times. "The records speak of the Shadow Devourers," Kethva said slowly, "beings of pure entropy that fed on life force itself. They appeared without warning at the edge of Krell space, consuming entire worlds in hours. Billions died before they vanished back into the cosmic void." "They didn't vanish," Elena said. "They found us." She rolled up her sleeve, revealing the twisted scar tissue that covered her right forearm. The flesh looked like it had been burned from the inside out, then healed incorrectly. Strange patterns swirled through the scar, as if frozen lightning had been etched into her skin. First contact with humanity was 12 years ago, she continued. They hit our outer colonies without warning. Kepler Station, population 50,000, was gone in 4 hours. Just empty holes floating in space. No bodies, no life signs, nothing but echoes. The gathered aliens pressed closer, their fear now mixed with fascination. Alina had seen this reaction before. Most species had myths about the void wraiths, ancient warnings passed down through generations. But humans had actually fought them. "How did your people survive?" asked the men-3. The Krell had weapons that could crack moons, shields that turned aside stellar fire. They lasted 3 days. Alina smiled grimly. The Krell tried to fight them like they were normal enemies. Energy weapons, projectile rounds, plasma charges. But void wraiths aren't made of matter. They're living entropy, chaos, given form. Fighting them with conventional weapons is like trying to shoot the darkness. Then how? Kethva's 6 eyes were focused intently on her. "We did what humans always do when faced with the impossible," Alina said. "We got creative, and we got stupid." She pulled up her shirt slightly, revealing more scars across her abdomen. These were different, darker somehow, as if the flesh itself had been touched by something fundamentally wrong. Dr. Marcus Webb, our best theoretical physicist, had a theory. If the wraiths were living entropy, beings that existed to consume order and create chaos, then maybe we could reverse that process. Create weapons that imposed order instead of destruction. The Quillian officer's scales had shifted to deep purple, indicating intense curiosity. "How does one weaponize order?" "Crystalline matrices," Alina said. "We developed ammunition made from perfect crystal structures, each one programmed with mathematical constants, pi to 1,000,000 decimal places. The golden ratio, fundamental physical laws encoded in matter so pure it hurt to look at." She traced the scar on her arm with one finger. "The first time we fired those rounds, it was like watching light fight shadow. The wraiths screamed, actually screamed, as the ordered matter tore through their entropic forms. But they adapted fast. They always do." "What happened then?" The question came from a young Valerian, her blue-furred face filled with wonder. "The Battle of New Geneva," Alina said quietly. "Population 4 million. The wraiths came in force, hundreds of them. We had maybe 1,000 ships against entities that had consumed empires." She paused, lost in the memory. The silence stretched, until Kethva gently prompted, "And we discovered something the other species hadn't figured out. Void wraiths aren't just destroyers, they're parasites. They need ordered systems to consume, civilizations to feed on. But humans, ... Elena's smile was sharp as a blade. "We've always been good at making chaos." The aliens exchanged confused glances. Alina continued, "While half our fleet engaged them directly, the other half did something no military academy would ever teach. We started destroying our own infrastructure. Power grids, communication networks, supply depots. Everything that made New Geneva an ordered civilization. You committed genocide against yourselves." The men-3's voice carried notes of horror. "We committed tactical chaos," Alina corrected. "Every destroyed system, every severed connection made us less attractive to the wraiths. They need order to consume. Without it, they start to starve, and starving void wraiths make mistakes." She lifted her shirt higher, revealing a scar that spiraled around her ribs like a twisted rope. "This is from when I boarded one of their vessels. Turned out, when they're weakened, they become almost solid. Solid enough to hurt." "You boarded a void wraith ship." Kethva's whiskers were twitching rapidly, voluntarily. "Someone had to plant the resonance charges," Alina said. "Turns out, when you detonate crystalline order bombs inside an entropy being, they don't just die, they unravel. Takes about 30 seconds for the effect to cascade through their entire form." She pulled her shirt back down, hiding the constellation of scars that mapped her battles with forces no other species had survived fighting. "The wraiths learned to fear us after New Geneva. They'd show up at the edge of a system, sense human presence, and just ... leave, because they knew we'd rather burn everything down than let them have it. And eventually, they found easier prey elsewhere in the galaxy. But the scars," the young Valerian said softly, "they never healed properly." Alina nodded. "Contact with void energy changes you, leaves marks that go deeper than flesh. Every human who fought in the war carries them. We call them victory scars, because they remind us of what we're willing to sacrifice." She looked around at the circle of alien faces, seeing awe and fear in equal measure. "Your species have legends about the void wraiths, because you remember them as unstoppable forces of nature. We remember them as just another enemy that needed killing." The checkpoint had grown quiet again, but this time it was the silence of respect rather than shock. Finally, Kethva spoke. "Captain Rodriguez, there are stories in our archives. Ancient tales of warriors who fought the darkness itself. We called them the Star Killers, beings of legend who would appear when all hope was lost." He paused, studying her scarred face. "We thought they were myths." Alina picked up her weapon from the security bin and checked its charge. "Not myths, just human." The legend awakens. The news of Elena's presence spread through Nexus Station like wildfire. Within hours, diplomatic representatives from dozens of species had requested audiences with the Starkiller. Alina found herself in the station's central amphitheater, facing a sea of alien faces that regarded her with a mixture of reverence and disbelief. Ambassador Veltar of the Hegemony Council stepped forward, his crystalline body refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. "Captain Rodriguez, if what you say is true, then humanity has achieved something no other species in recorded history has accomplished. You have defeated a force of pure entropy." "We defeated one group of them," Alina corrected. "There are others out there. The galaxy is vast, and the void wraiths aren't the only ancient threat sleeping in the dark between stars." A ripple of unease passed through the assembled diplomats. It was High Curator Zephyrs of the Archive Worlds who spoke next, her mantis-like form clicking as she adjusted her translator device. "Our records speak of 13 separate incursions by entropy entities over the past 50,000 years. The Shadow Devourers, the Null Harbingers, the darkness between. Each appearance resulted in the complete annihilation of entire sectors. Trillions died." Alina nodded grimly. "We've encountered 3 different types so far. The Wraiths feed on civilization and order. The Harbingers consume time itself, aging entire worlds to dust in moments. And the things we call hollow gods ... double quotes, she shuddered. They eat memories, not just individual memories, but the collective history of entire species. You have fought all of them." The question came from General Krex, a massive Gorvany whose rocky skin was scarred from countless battles. "The hollow gods attacked our research station at Alpha Centauri last year," Alina said. By the time we realized what was happening, they had consumed 300 years of human scientific progress. Our brightest minds suddenly couldn't remember how to build fusion reactors or navigate hyperspace. She touched a small scar on her temple, barely visible beneath her dark hair. Dr. Sarah Chen, our chief xenobiologist, volunteered for the counterattack. She had her memories backed up on quantum storage, then went in as bait. When the hollow god tried to consume her knowledge, it got a feedback loop instead. Pure information paradoxes. The entity couldn't process recursive mathematical impossibilities. It died from confusion. Ambassador Veltar's light patterns shifted to indicate amazement. It died from trying to eat something that couldn't exist, Alina clarified. Dr. Chen is still recovering. When you have your memories consumed and restored, there are gaps, missing pieces that never quite fit back together. The amphitheater fell silent as the implications sank in. These weren't just war stories. They were accounts of humans sacrificing their very essence to fight cosmic horrors. High Curator Zephes consulted a holographic display that materialized beside her. Our archives contain references to the architects of silence, entities that appeared in the Andromeda spiral arm 60,000 years ago. They consumed not matter or energy, but the very concept of existence itself. Entire civilizations simply never were. Elena's expression grew grim. We haven't encountered them yet, but we're preparing. How does one prepare for non-existence? General Krex's voice rumbled with skeptical concern. The same way we prepare for everything else, Alina said. We study the problem, we find the weakness, and we hit it with everything we have. She stood up, addressing the entire assembly. That's what you don't understand about humans. We're not stronger than you. We're not smarter or more advanced. But when something threatens us, we don't calculate odds or run statistical analyses. We don't form committees or debate for centuries about the correct response. She began pacing, her voice growing stronger. We see the threat, we figure out how to kill it, and then we do whatever it takes to make that happen, even if it costs us everything. But surely there must be limits, protested Councillor Thane of the Peaceful Worlds, her melodic voice carrying notes of distress. No species can survive infinite sacrifice. Alina smiled, and there was something both sad and fierce in her expression. You'd be surprised. Humans have a saying, the only easy day was yesterday. We've built our entire civilization on the principle that tomorrow's problems require today's preparation. She activated a holographic projector, displaying star charts that showed human space over the past 2 decades. Red zones marked areas where entropy entities had been encountered and defeated. After each encounter, we don't just celebrate victory, we study what we learned and prepare for the next threat. Our entire military doctrine is built around fighting impossible enemies. She pointed to various installations scattered throughout human space, quantum foundries that can manufacture ordered matter faster than void wraiths can consume it, time-locked bunkers that exist outside normal causality, safe from harbingers, memory vaults that preserve our knowledge even from hollow gods. And if something appears that you cannot defeat, asked Ambassador Veltar, then we make sure our deaths teach the next generation how to win, Alina said simply. Every human soldier carries a quantum recorder that captures tactical data. Even after death, our defeats become lessons for future victories. General Krex leaned forward, his rocky features showing something that might have been respect. Your species wages war against entropy itself. We wage war against anything that threatens the people we protect, Alina corrected. entropy entities. Rogue A is cosmic parasites, reality-warping aliens from parallel dimensions. If it's hostile and it threatens civilian populations, we find a way to stop it. High Curator Zephyrs was scanning through more archival data. Captain Rodriguez, there are mentions in our oldest records of a cycle. Every 100,000 years, the barriers between dimensions weaken. Ancient forces stir in the void between realities. We believe we are approaching another such period. Alina nodded gravely. Our scientists have detected similar patterns. Increased dimensional instability, reality fluctuations in deep space, dormant entities showing signs of awakening. She looked around the amphitheater. That's why we're here. Not just for trade agreements or diplomatic protocols. What do you propose? Councillor Thane's melody had shifted to harmonics of concern. An alliance, Alina said. Not just political. Cooperation, but a sharing of knowledge and resources. Your species have survived in this galaxy for millennia. You know its history, its dangers, its hidden secrets. Humans know how to fight things that shouldn't exist. She gestured to the star charts. The next wave of threats won't target just one species or one sector. They'll come for all of us. But together, we might have a chance. Ambassador Velter's crystalline form pulsed with complex light patterns as he considered this. You are asking us to prepare for a war against myths and legends. I'm asking you to prepare for a war against forces that consider entire civilizations to be food sources, Alina said bluntly. Forces that have consumed thousands of species already and will consume thousands more unless someone stands against them. General Krex stood up, his massive form towering over the assembly. The Gorvani have fought many wars, Captain Rodriguez, but never against enemies that exist beyond the laws of physics. Then you'll learn, Alina said, with certainty, because the alternative is extinction. She deactivated the holographic display and faced the assembled diplomats. Humans didn't ask to become the galaxy's monster hunters. We didn't choose to fight impossible wars against cosmic horrors. But when the choice is between fighting and dying on your feet or just dying on your knees, there's really no choice at all. The silence that followed was different from before. It carried the weight of decision. The moment when civilizations choose their path forward. Finally, High Curator Zephy spoke. The archive worlds possess knowledge gathered over millions of years. Information about entities and forces that predate most stellar civilizations. If humanity is truly prepared to stand against the ancient darkness, then we will share what we know. One by one, other delegates began to speak. The Hegemony Council offered their advanced manufacturing capabilities. The Gorvani pledged their military expertise. The Peaceful Worlds proposed creating safe zones where civilian populations could be evacuated. As the commitments piled up, Alina felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Not just hope, but the solid confidence that came from facing impossible odds with reliable allies. Then we have work to do, she said, touching the scars hidden beneath her uniform. The next war is coming, but this time we'll be ready. The Starkillers were no longer alone in the darkness, and that, Alina thought, might make all the difference. Asterisk.